Hey everyone, before I dive into my story, please hit that subscribe button to join my channel and support more content like this. My name's Emma and I'm 42 years old. My own sister, a bank executive, shamed me in front of everyone when I tried to take out $150. Before I share how I fought back by triggering a $4.2 billion asset transfer that paralyzed their system and led to her immediate dismissal, I'd love for you to drop a comment below and tell me where you're watching from. It helps to know I'm not alone in this. To understand why I didn't lose my cool or cause a scene in that bank, you need to know my family. To them, I was always the quiet one, the one who showed up with handmade cards instead of flashy gifts. I'll never forget my 10th birthday. I spent weeks crafting a watercolor of a lighthouse for my parents, my fingers stained with blue and gray. I was so proud when I gave it to them, my heart racing. My dad, Robert, barely glanced at it before turning to my sisters. So, Victoria, Charlotte, what did you get us? They'd pulled their money for a sparkling crystal vase. My mom, Eleanor, gasped with joy. My painting? It was pushed to a corner table, ignored. That's when I learned my role. I wasn't the brilliant one, the beautiful one, or the accomplished one. Victoria was the star, climbing the corporate ladder with fierce determination. Charlotte was the charmer, always stealing the spotlight with her cunning charm. I was just Emma, the quiet, overlooked shadow in our family. That dynamic never shifted as we grew older. It hardened, trapping me like quicksand. Years later, at a family dinner, I tried to share some exciting news. I'd been volunteering at a community garden, and we just won a small grant for a kids' section. I was thrilled. But before I could finish, Victoria interrupted, chuckling as she bragged about her latest promotion. The table turned to her title, her bonus. My dad grinned proudly. My mom asked what car she'd buy next. I sat there, my moment fading into nothing. I felt invisible. The only person who ever truly noticed me was my grandfather. Quiet like me, he saw everything. Before he passed, he left me a small wooden box with an old key and a note in his graceful handwriting. For my youngest, who loves the deepest. Use this when they forget your worth. He also named me executor of a modest family trust, a safety net for us all. It wasn't much, but it was his legacy. Recently, I'd noticed strange withdrawals in the trust statements, small sums taken by Charlotte. A quiet unease grew in me, but I brushed it off. You want to trust your family, don't you? Even when they've given you every reason not to. Being invisible to them pushed me to carve out my own life, free from their judgment. I had my cozy apartment, my books, and Mrs. Harper, my 80-year-old neighbor. Her laughter lit up rooms, her eyes crinkling warmly when she smiled. She was more family than my own ever was. She'd called to share a recipe or a story about her late husband. She saw me. That chilly Tuesday morning, Mrs. Harper called, her voice shaky. Her heater had broken, and the repairman demanded $150 up front. She was short on cash. Don't worry, I said, forcing confidence I didn't feel. I'll head to the bank now. That's how I ended up in the cold, polished lobby of Summit Bank, waiting in line. Behind the manager's desk stood Victoria, her smug smile fixed on me. When my turn came, I approached the teller. Before I could speak, Victoria swept over, her heels clicking sharply. Well, look who's here, she said, her tone thick with mockery. What do you need, Emma? I kept my voice steady. Just $150 from my account. She laughed, sharp and loud, playing to the room. $150? That's it. She leaned closer, her whisper loud enough for all to hear. We don't cater to small-timers here. Are you sure you even have that much? My breath caught. Heat crept up my face. I felt the stares, pity, curiosity. The teller shifted uncomfortably. For a moment, I was 10 again, clutching my forgotten painting. I was the woman at the dinner table, silenced. Something shifted inside me, not rage, but a deep, exhausted resolve. I was done. I met Victoria's gaze, said nothing, and walked out. The glass door slid shut behind me. I thought that was the worst of it, the humiliation, the sting. I was wrong. The worst was what I did next. That night, my apartment felt suffocating. The silence roared. I made tea, my hands trembling, and sat on my thrift store couch. I opened my laptop, not a fancy one, but secure. With a few clicks, I left my simple life behind and entered my real one. The screen flickered to a sleek dashboard. At the top, in bold white on black, was the name Corporal 7, and below it a figure, for $1,210,350,000. This was my secret, built in the shadows while my family mocked my thrift store clothes and quiet life. Years ago, after my dad told me I'd never be anything, I walked away. I took the small inheritance my grandfather left me, separate from the trust, and channeled my pain, my focus, my mind into patterns, financial markets. I built an algorithm, a masterpiece of code I named Dawn, after the soft cooing does outside my window. Dawn wasn't a person. It was a force, a phantom I'd created. Corporal 7 was the fund it powered, a quiet titan. No one knew I ran it. To the world, I was just Emma, the unremarkable woman from Cincinnati. I laughed bitterly, the sound echoing in my small apartment. The irony was crushing. My sister, who shamed me over $150, managed a bank branch, probably boasting about her salary. I could buy her bank a dozen times over without blinking. I wasn't after revenge, just survival. But as I stared at the screen, I decided to review my fund's new partnerships. Routine stuff. My investments were managed by a global banking giant. Scrolling through their recent acquisitions, I froze. There it was, Summit Bank, Victoria's bank, now a subsidiary of my fund's parent company. She worked for me unknowingly. A switch flipped. This wasn't about $150 or years of slights. It was about the system, the one they worshipped, built on status and power. That system now put me in charge. It wasn't just a chance. It was a duty, a call to use the strength my grandfather saw in me. I spent the night in calm, precise focus, not anger but clarity. This wouldn't be a tantrum. It would be surgical. At 3 a.m., I called my lead counsel on a secure line. "Good morning," I said evenly. "Set up an urgent risk assessment meeting for tomorrow with Summit Bank's regional director. The Corporal 7 representative will be Dawn. Yes, I'm attending in person." I hung up. The storm was here. The next morning, I didn't dress like a tycoon. I wore a simple navy dress, no flashy accessories. My power wasn't in appearances, it was in knowledge. In the mirror, doubt flickered. My mom's voice echoed, "Is this worth it, Emma?" Why stir trouble? Was I becoming like her? Who knows? I pushed the thought away, opened my grandfather's box, and read this note. For my youngest, who knows? Use this one with me. He said to use my heart, not my wealth or wit. My heart knew strength meant boundaries, not letting people trample you. This wasn't vengeance, it was self-respect. My resolve solidified, calm and clear. I tucked the note in my bag and left. When I returned to Summit Bank, the air was electric. A nervous man in a sharp suit waited by the door. Mr. Lang, the regional director, flown in from Chicago. He rushed toward me, hand outstretched. "Ms. Dawn, such an honor." "I'm Marcus Lang. Thank you for coming." His eyes flicked anxiously. Victoria stood by her glass office, her face souring at the sight of me. She started toward us, likely to toss me out again, but froze when she saw Lang's deference. Her sneer morphed into confusion. "This way, Ms. Dawn," Lang said, leading me to Victoria's office. I sat in the guest chair. Lang stood, wringing his hands. Victoria lingered in the doorway, arms crossed, clinging to her fading authority. I spoke softly, my voice cutting through the tension. "Corporal 7 has concerns." Lang swallowed hard. "Of course, Ms. Dawn. How can we assist?" "It's not about assistance," I said, glancing from his nervous face to Victoria's puzzled one. "It's about a decision we've made. Due to serious issues with this branch's culture and management competence, Corporal 7 is launching a hostile asset transfer." Lang looked ill. Victoria blinked. "A what?" I turned to her. "It's a banking term, Victoria. In simple terms, my fund is publicly stating your bank's parent company is too incompetent to handle our money. We're pulling all $4.2 billion and moving it to a competitor. Per our agreement, we must state why. a loss of confidence in this branch's personnel. Lang paled. Victoria's mind raced, piecing it together. The name M, Dawn, the staggering sum me, her useless sister, sitting here. Her jaw dropped, her eyes wide with horror. You, she whispered, voice breaking. It's you. I gave her a small, weary smile. Me. I just came for $150 yesterday, remember? That broke her. The proud manager, the family's darling, my bully, she collapsed, literally, to the floor, sobbing, her makeup streaking. No, 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 she wailed, crawling toward me. Emma, please. Don't do this. You'll ruin me. The family's name. What will Mom and Dad think? Her pleas weren't for forgiveness. They were about her image, her status. Even now, it was all about her. I didn't need to speak. Lang, furious, pointed at her. You caused this. You brought this on us. Get out. You're fired. Security escorted a sobbing Victoria out. I stood, looking at her tear-streaked face, and said softly, just for her, this was never about money, Victoria. It was about respect, something you never learned. To Lang, I said, the transfer stands. I left, the door closing behind me, leaving her shattered world behind. I didn't feel victorious, just still. The first ripple of a larger quake had hit, and I knew more was coming. Driving home, my phone buzzed relentlessly. A text from Charlotte. OMG. Heard something wild went down with Victoria. You okay? We need to talk. A missed call from Gregory, Charlotte's sleazy husband. Then a text from my mom. Emma, call me. We're so worried. Worried now when the power shifted, not when Victoria crushed me. The fake concern was almost funny. I ignored them. At home, the phone rang again, Mom. I answered, maybe hoping for something real. Emma, thank God, she gasped, frantic. What did you do? Victoria's a wreck. Her career's done. How could you be so heartless? After all we've done, you hurt your sister. Fix this. Think of the family. Not are you okay? Not I'm sorry she hurt you. Just family reputation. The last spark of hope in me died. My voice was ice. You're right. We need to talk about family. All of us one last time. Yes, she said, relieved. We'll fix this. Sunday I cut in. Dinner at my place. I'll send the address. I hung up. This needed to be final, a clean break. Sunday evening they arrived, Dad, Mom, Charlotte, Gregory. They pulled up to the address, stunned. It wasn't my modest apartment. It was a stunning modern house in a serene, wooded area, elegant, expensive. Their faces mixed shock and greed. I opened the door. Welcome, I said. They gaped at the soaring ceilings, the art. Dinner was simple but set on a grand table. They sat, tension thick. Dad spoke first, gruff. Okay, Emma, we get it. You're rich. Now fix the mess with Victoria. Charlotte added, her sympathy fake, he's right, Em. Family sticks together. Victoria messed up, but ruining her life? It's too much. They lectured me for 10 minutes, blaming me, calling me secretive, cruel. Mom just nodded, silent. Not one mention of Victoria's actions. Not one question about my pain. I let them vent. When they finished, I stood, walked to a side table, and placed a slim leather folder on the table. If you're done blaming me for ruining a life, I said, voice low, let's discuss how Charlotte's been ruining a legacy. Her face paled. What? I opened the folder. The family trust, grandfather's legacy, the one he entrusted to me. These withdrawals, I slid a statement to Dad. And these forged invoices from a shell company Charlotte created to cover her theft. For 2 years, she's stolen from us, from you, from his memory. Silence fell. Gregory stared at Charlotte, horrified. Dad's face grayed as he read the proof. Mom gaped, speechless. They saw their other golden child for what she was, a thief. You want to talk family? I said, my voice cracking with decades of hurt. Family doesn't do this. Family doesn't weigh love and money or titles. Family shows up. You were never my family, just investors in my pain. This isn't a family. It's a failed venture and I'm done. I met their eyes. This is goodbye. Months later, the chaos has settled. Charlotte was fired after an audit. facing legal trouble. Victoria works a low-end admin job. I hear bits, but it feels distant, like someone else's life. I'm standing in sunlight, surrounded by the scent of earth and lavender at the new community garden wing I funded, named the Harper and Grandfather Reading Garden. Mrs. Harper sits on a bench, reading to kids, her smile warm. My true family. I plant a seedling, pressing soil around it. The biggest transaction wasn't the $4.2 billion transfer. It was closing the toxic account of my love and loyalty to a family that was bankrupt long ago. For the first time, being just Emma feels like enough. I'm growing my own garden now. Thank you for hearing my story. It was hard to tell, but it mattered. My question for you: have you ever had to walk away from someone or something to save yourself? Share in the comments, I'll be reading. If this resonated, please like and subscribe for more.